podcast will start in 3, 2, 1.
You guys are rolling.
Welcome to the Unqualified Professionals.
Yeah, right. That's why I hate that. Like, so.
Well, I have nothing to say. No.
Nah. So, being in like a pageant or like, Miss North America, like we were talking about before, like you beat out, Canada, Mexico, all of North America. How is it like? Is it like Miss Congeniality, like with Sandra Bullock?
I mean, ironically, every pageant that I've competed in, I think every single one actually has a Miss Congeniality title. Mm-hmm. So before I was like, I went into this world like full force. I was like, what is Miss Congeniality? But then I realized that it's like a title that you get for like the most likable contestant. Mm-hmm. So at the end of every pageant, you have to vote for a Miss Congeniality. Oh. So that's what that is.
I never even knew what that was. I was just like, why is it called Miss Congeniality if it's about Miss America pageant?
No, yeah, exactly. And that's like the most likable character. Contestant.
Yeah,
So whoever is there that, everyone got along with, that was helping everybody, gets Miss Congeniality. I have never won that though.
Who won it in yours?
I can't remember, to be honest. Oh. I don't remember the exact contestant that won it. But I always remember like voting for it. I won't say who I voted for, but.
And you said too, like not only you are, not you said, but you are Miss Illinois.
At Miss Chicago right now. I'm competing for Miss Illinois for the United States of America pageant.
Weren't you Miss Illinois before though?
Yes, Miss Illinois in North America.
Yeah, and then you're competing right now in what pageant?
United States of America.
All right, stepping it up.
Yeah, it's exciting. So they're all different organizations, and like there's multiple Miss Illinois. There's so many divisions. There's so much more to pageantry that people know. Because usually people just know like the top like two pageants, like Miss America or Miss Universe. Mm-hmm. But there's so many organizations out there. United States of America is a big one. North America was a big one. And, at this age, like I'm kind of like focusing on just a couple of more organizations that I want to compete for. This is one of the big ones that I really want. And, we'll see. Eventually I'll probably be done with pageants within a couple of years, maybe.
So you're gearing more towards, would you start taking the avenue towards acting?
Yeah, I think I want to go in acting like full force. I love pageants, but it's so much work, a lot of time and energy. So
that's so crazy. I love acting. I think it's the coolest thing ever. Because like we were talking about this before, like you can be whoever you want to, or you just have to be whoever you're cast as. And I was watching, it's crazy when you see actors call their shots. I was watching, I forgot his name, but he was in Blazing Saddles and he played Willy Wonka. In the original Willy Wonka, not all these new ones, but everyone knows who I'm talking about. I'm drawing a blank here because, like I said, right when I want to talk about it, I'm drawing a blank.
Right, of course.
But he actually called his shot. He said he wasn't going to play Wonka unless he can come out and look.
Eugene.
Huh?
I think his name was Eugene.
Yeah.
Is it? Okay.
I think it is Eugene.
I think so.
And he, Gene Wilder, ain't it?
Gene Wilder.
That's what it is.
God, we can't.
I knew it. That's what his name is. I knew it because I love Blazing Saddles.
Yeah.
And so he actually called his shot when the director told him, he goes, I'm not going to play the role unless I can come out the first time they see Wonka, I have to portray as a cripple with a cane.
What?
And he said, the only way I'll do it is if I come out with the cane, get it stuck in that cobblestone and do a flip. Because then he said it sets the tone for the movie that no one knows if I'm ever telling the truth or not with the kids.
Okay.
And he's like, if you go through the movie after that point, you never know if I'm telling the truth to the kids or if I'm not telling the truth to the kids.
Like, what a risk though. Like, how brave to be able to call your own shots, Like,
he said the director was like, so if I don't let you do that, you're not going to be in the movie. He's like, nope.
Wow.
Right, just a hard no. No.
And they could have easily been like, okay, we'll just do somebody else, right? Like, that's so scary. So what a risk.
So how'd you get into acting?
So I've always wanted to be an actress since I can remember. It was one of my goals. I had so many dreams as a kid, but that was one of the dreams that I had. And I started doing it in high school. There's actually like a really funny story. So I started doing like theater and, you know, like in English literature class, we used to do like little performances where I played like Juliet, like I think I was like 16. And then one time, this is like really how everything started. I was working my first job and we were like 16. So I was one of the only friends that had a job, and I was working at State Farm as a telemarketer, and I took it very serious. Yes, I was a little telemarketer, and it was like we were all like students over. It was so cute. It was one of my favorite jobs, like growing up, and I took it so serious. And my friends were like, "Hey, like you want to go downtown? They're filming a movie downtown. Like we're gonna go try to see." I was like, oh, "God, I want to go so bad." I'm like, "I can't though. I have work. I can't call off." And all my friends went, and then in the middle of like me being at work, I get a call, and it's my friends screaming. They're like, "We just met Shia LaBeouf," and I'm like, "No!" And I was so mad. I'm like, "Why did I like go to work?" And I was so upset. I'm like, "Damn! Like I could have met Shia." They're like, "And he kissed one of our friends." Like he kissed one of our friends in the cheek, and they have a picture of it. I was like, "No freaking way!" Because my best friend took her camera that day, so I got like a perfect picture. And that's all they could talk about for the longest. I'm like, man, that's one of my biggest regrets. Like growing up, I was like, I could have met Shia LaBeouf. So like my friend posted this on MySpace back in the day, the picture.
MySpace. It threw it right back right there.
She put it in MySpace, and a girl reached out to her. And she's like, "Oh my God, like you met Shia. Like I got to be in a movie as an extra with him in Transformers." And I was like my friend's telling me this whole story. I'm like, "How cool!" And then she's like, so my friend's like, "Well, how did you get that?" One of my friends, me, is into acting, but she doesn't know like how to get in it. And she's like, "Well, there's this like casting company. We should look into it." So she's like, "Hey, like I heard about this." My friend was more like behind. She didn't like to be in front of the camera, whereas me, I was like always there. She's like, "Try it out." So I started getting into extra roles. I applied to a role, got rejected because I didn't look like they wanted like a hipster vibe for like whatever they were filming. And my friend like transformed me, and she's like, "Let's resend your picture." And then I got it. And then I started doing like extra roles. And back then I was like, how cool, because I was around like big actors and I was on set, and it was just so cool. So did that for a long time, really, really had fun doing it and learned a lot. And like I paid attention to everything and how people acted on set, like what was acceptable, what was professional. And I kept doing that, but then after a while it got really like hard with school, because you would film, like you'd have to commit to like 14-hour days. And I felt like I wasn't going anywhere. It was really stagnant, because when you're an extra, like you can't really audition to be a main character for like the show or whatever you're doing. So I stopped doing the extra work for a while. And then years later, I think I was telling you like part of the story. My mom came across somebody at her job that, you know, he was talking about like how he did like side acting and stuff. And he's like, "Oh, outside of here, I do acting gigs." And she's like, "Oh, my daughter's into that." And she tells me about it. And I'm like, "What is it?" And it's like a Spanish movie, she said. I was like, "I've never heard of that." She told me the name, which is All or Nothing in Spanish, todo nada. Yeah. And I was like, "I don't know what that is." And she's like, I'm like, "What if it's like, is it real?" She's like, "Just try it. I don't know. I don't know anything about it. Like, this is the address. If you want to go, go. If not, whatever." And I was like, okay. So I had like other plans that day. So I was going to go to a modeling casting, a pageant thing. And then I put that at the end because I didn't know what it was. Right. And I was like, I'll start with like the other castings and I'll work my way there. And then afterwards I had plans to watch like this boxing match. And I'm like, I'll make it in time for the boxing match. So I started driving to downtown. So like I was heading north. And I was like, okay, I'm going to go to my first casting. A blizzard hits. Literally, like a blizzard out of nowhere. Everyone can't really move. Like we're stuck on the expressway. And I was like, shit, I don't make the first one. It's like, I'll just go to the next one. I don't make the next one. I was like, oh my God, okay. And mind you, it's like snowing. I'm not moving. I'm stuck. I'm like, can I at least make the fight? Like I at least want to watch this boxing match like with my friends. So then I happened to look. And I'm like, let me just try this audition like my mom had mentioned, or this casting. Yeah. I look up the address. It's literally the next exit for like the casting. And I was like, it's a sign. You know what? I'm just dying to get out this expressway. Let me go. I had nothing prepared. I had no audition, no monologue, like nothing. I knew nothing about it except the name and that it was a casting for a possible movie or show. So I get off the expressway. I get there and I'm like wearing these like heel boots. I'm literally sliding in the snow. I'm slipping. And I'm like, God, I'm late. Like I had like maybe 15 minutes before like the casting ended. And I was like, at least I'm going to make it in there, whatever. I had this headshot in my car that I always carried, and with my name and like email on the back, my contact info. So I get to the audition. It's like a little bar lounge. And the guy, I was like, hey, I'm here for this audition. The guy's like, oh, everyone left early, the blizzard. And I was like, oh, okay. And I was like, damn, it's not my day. Okay. So as I'm walking back to the car, slowly, because I can't walk in the shoes I'm walking in. It's snowing. It's a blizzard. The wind's hitting my face. I felt so defeated. And then the guy starts screaming at me, like the guy from the lounge. And he's like, hey. I'm like, what? And then he's like, come here. That's the director right over there, cleaning the snow off his car. Yeah. And I'm like, oh my God. And I'm like, no. And he's like, why don't you just go talk to him? And I was like, no way. No. Yeah. I'm like, I'm already late. It's embarrassing. Like, at this point, I just want to go to this, like, watch this fight. And I think Canelo was fighting, and I always watch his fights. I had to, right? I love watching him. So he's like, no, you never know. Just go talk to him. So there I go. I'm like, hey. So I'm screaming. I look like a crazy person. I'm like, hey, because I'm like, if he gets in his car, I'm not chasing the car. And I'm chasing him with my little headshot. And he just looks at me like, I'm going to rob him. He's like, what? I thought that's an answer. He's like covered in snow, about to fall. He's like, she going to ask me for money? Like, what? Yeah. And I'm like, hey, I heard about this audition yesterday, literally. I'm sorry I was late. I know I didn't get to audition, but here's my headshot. I'm an actress. And if you want to look me up or contact me, I can tell you more about my work that I've done. And he's literally just staring at me and staring at my photo, and he looks serious as hell. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, you know what? This is a bad idea. And he's like, okay. We'll see. If anything, we'll call you. I'm like, all right. I was like, well, bye. And on my way back, I almost fall. So I know he's watching. His wife was in the car, and I'm slipping, heading towards my car. And then I get in my car. I'm like, whatever. I'm just going to go home.
Like, this day's been horrible. I missed these two things. I just bombed this one thing.
Right. Yeah. Everything was going wrong, I thought. And then about a month and a half later, they call me. They're like, hey, we think you'd be perfect for, one of the main characters' daughter, who has a daughter, and you kind of look like her. We think you'd be good for the role of, this character in the movie. It's not a lot of lines. Do you want it? And I was like, yeah, like, oh my God. And I had almost forgotten about it. And so I did that role. He liked me. They put me in a theater company in Spanish. It was crazy. It was all learning experience.
Are you fluent with Spanish?
Yeah, but back then I was struggling. Like, I was, raised here. So it wasn't fluent. So they taught me a lot. And then next thing you know, I get a main role in a movie, a main role in another movie. I'm in this theater company. And that's what really propelled it.
Gosh,
it was so crazy.
Awesome. Yeah, I seen your like a little interview excerpt of like the behind the scenes of Night Hunt.
Yeah.
And that was pretty cool. I was like, oh, because I honestly, I'm not fluent in Spanish, so I'm like, probably can't watch too many of these.
So that was in English. That was actually in English.
When I saw that behind the scenes and I seen the movie was in English, I'm like, oh, gotta watch this one. There's no excuses now.
Yeah, and the other ones are so funny, and they have subtitles, and you can still watch them.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited. Like I said, I'm gonna watch it probably this weekend.
Oh my God, let me know what you think.
I saw it like right before I came in here. I'm like, oh, this is in English. This is all right. Culture shock.
Yeah.
So
it's always fun watching. I'm like, for me, it's like weird a little bit, but I love watching the movie. But when it comes to my parts, I'm like, ooh, like it's just so weird watching yourself on TV.
What's your family think? When they see you doing that, obviously they're always going to be your biggest fans with support.
Or critics.
For sure, critics. For sure, critics.
Yeah, but I accept the criticism. I'm always like, well, what do you think? And like my mom will always tell me, she's like, well, I liked it. I didn't like that facial expression you made, or I didn't like that. And I'm like, okay, I'll be mindful of that. But yeah, so they like it. They love watching my stuff, but then they will tell me. I ask them the truth,
Yeah, for sure. You got to. And it's so funny you said that, like your support line is closest to you is like usually your family, and they're your biggest critic. Like my wife, like even with the podcast or like at home, she's like, "You're not funny at all. You are so not funny." And then, but everybody else, my friends, my other family around me, the people that work with me, they're like, "Dude, you are hilarious."
Right?
But it's just, I mean, maybe I'm not her forte as far as it goes to comedy. And it's so funny.
I used to get that too. Like one of my first movies was a comedy in Spanish. So like it was already like a challenge with the Spanish portion, but then also comedy. And I remember like my ex-boyfriend used to tell me, he's like, "You're not funny." And I'm like, well, then why am I doing like funny like plays or funny movies, like comedies? And he's like, I don't know. And then, but then I would watch, I'm like, other people are laughing. So that's all that
like, who
matters.
cares
Like,
what you think?
they're enjoying it. Who cares, right? I'm funny. No.
Yeah, no, I agree.
I make myself laugh, so that's,
That's what she says.
Yeah.
She's like, you're the only one laughing.
right.
I'm like, I think I'm pretty funny.
I'm having fun.
Yeah, I'm having fun.
Yeah.
Oh man. So growing up here, you said, we were talking before here, we're both products of like single moms, one parent in the household.
Yeah.
And we were talking about how it gives you that extra edge. Like, do you want to elaborate on that a little bit more?
Yeah. So, I mean, growing up, I saw her work so hard. Like, I have a brother, and she took such good care of us, but then also worked really hard. And I saw her work full time, take care of us. I know I was a handful. Like, I've always been like hyper and crazy involved in everything. So I know I was a handful. And then also, she was going to school. So I always saw her. I grew up literally, sometimes she would have to take me to like classes, to college classes. So I always say like I grew up in college, and like I love school to this day. But yeah, I saw her work so hard that I always thought like, there's no excuse for me. Like if she can do it, like going to school, working, taking care of us, and still somehow making it seem like we never lacked anything, even though like we struggled.
We definitely
for sure, but I
struggled.
never really like felt it. And looking back, I was like, wow, I had a lot, even though sometimes it didn't feel like it. It was just, it just gave me that like push. I'm like, I gotta be like better than her. I have no excuse.
Yes,
I have
you
no
have
excuse.
to be better.
Yes,
That's how
I have to
feel
do better. Yeah. And I saw her literally work up to get her master's degree, like literally going from like working at a college as like an operator to literally being a mental health therapist. Like, I saw her do that.
Wow.
It took years because it was, she had to raise us too. So like, yeah, that's why like I'm working for my master's now and I'm still in school.
And how old is your brother from like as far as like apart?
2.5 years younger. Exactly.
Oh, okay. So that's exactly like me and my sister.
Really?
I have a younger sister. We're like almost 2 years to the month.
Yeah.
And
it's crazy.
Yeah, it definitely puts like the no excuses aspect, the work hard aspect. Like me, like I got, friends that grow up with two parents or, both parents at least in their life, maybe separated, but like, I see them call off of work and stuff like that. And I'm like, dude, I can't. Like,
Right.
I think that company, like I make this company roll.
Right.
Like,
Right.
you know what I mean? Like I make this place go round.
Yeah.
And it's like, at the same time, at the end of the day, they would, if they lost me at the company, they would, no company's going to go under because of one small employee.
Right.
But that's the way you look at it, is just that hunger all the time. Nothing's ever really good enough. That's how I feel.
Right. And then like you always have that, like you need to work hard. Like you always feel like no matter how good you have it now, you still don't have that luxury to like, I can't take a break. Like I have to keep going. I have to keep going. So I don't know if it's always going to be like that. Maybe that's how I've always been.
I hope not.
I'm tired.
Yeah, like I hope I get to a point where it's
Hopefully,
like,
right?
this is enough. Like this, I'm good here.
Yeah,
But
hopefully.
it's just, that feelings never came over me at all. It's
Right.
just always, what's the next step? What's the next? How do I be with any company I've ever worked for? Luckily, I haven't had too many jobs. I'm a pretty good employee. I stick around a while. But yeah, it's constant, always trying to just get better and be better. And you also, I think another thing is like we look at, or the way I look at it is like, if my mom was doing all of this, like there was a point where she was working at Speedway on midnights, or I think it was Speedway during the day and White Castle on midnights, just for us to be okay. And it's like, she was like killing herself, and I'm here doing all this stuff, and she like what you said, like we struggled, but we had it pretty decent. We had a roof over our head. We never went hungry.
Exactly.
We never, luckily she had good family that watched us while she was doing all this stuff. And I think another thing that people don't understand or see is that like people from single mom households or single dad households, they're around so many different personalities.
Yeah.
So if you think about like your cousin has this personality, your uncle has this personality, your aunt has this personality, and you assess so much of that growing up that you don't even notice that it gives you a way to deal with people or just somehow get along or relate to almost everybody.
You're able to take a lot from them too. Like I can, like, I feel like I was raised by, like, I have really like amazing aunts.
Yeah.
And I feel like I was raised by all of them in a sense. Like all of them were so different, but I learned so much from every one of them. You know, I thought they were like so cool. Like they're business owners or in the medical field, they're this. And I would be like, they're so cool. Like I want to be like them.
Yeah.
And I took a lot from them and I listened more. And I think too, like you have a sense of gratitude for like everything you have.
Everything. You have.
Like I don't know. I don't know if that came from like the single parent household or that's just me, but like I literally live every single day to like be grateful.
Yes.
And try to, like, that's my way to stay positive. And, you know, I just wake up every day and I'm like, okay, well, there's always something to be grateful for. And I tell that to people all the time. I'm like, I think that's key to try to remain as positive as you can in your life and happy with what you have.
Yes.
You know, and you're still trying to get more, but you have to stay grateful for everything you have had and have now. Whether it's like, I get to walk every day. I have both my legs, or I have both there's always something to be grateful for.
See that's where like a different, because like with me, my wife, she grew up with both parents in the house, married. Maybe everything wasn't always hunky dory, but it was, you know, for the most part, she grew up with a whole family,
like stable.
Yes, very stable family. And you know, I tell her, you know, because she'll see sometimes, like I'm like, hey, you know, let's not do this in the house. Like you don't understand. And she's like, oh, this isn't that bad. I'm like, you don't get it. Like, you know what I mean? And it gives you that edge to like always be grateful. Like I have, you know, I drive a Nissan Rogue, but I treat that thing like a Benz.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, hey, man, don't eat in my car. And they're like, it's a Rogue.
Right.
You know?
I know.
It's like, no, but it means something to me.
Right. Like, no, I'm still driving like my first car, and it's everyone's like, dude, get a new car. Even my mom's mom, she's like, just get a new car. I'm like, why? Why? I paid this one off. Like, who cares? Like, it works fine. Like, and everyone's like, you know, your car's really messed up just because, you know, it looks a little busted. It's okay. I'm like, it doesn't matter. Like, I'm not that materialistic. I'm like, it's fine. Like one day when I have enough, maybe I'll get like my Mercedes Benz. But now, I mean, I'm fine. It gets me to one part to the other. So
that's
okay.
And that's cool seeing also someone in an industry like pageants, acting, modeling, you know, commercials, like what you said, that you don't hold that dear. You know, you're not whipping around a Benz. Your first goal wasn't to get these jobs and get a Benz, or get these jobs and get a Beamer. And that's I can't speak it. That's really cool that like well, not cool that I met you, but it is cool that I met you. But
thank you.
it's cool that it gives you that sort of humanity.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like there's so much lost, and it's so materialistic with all this TikTok and wanting, everyone wants to be famous.
Right.
So it gives you that sense of like, you're still you. You know?
Exactly.
You're
and
grounded.
I am.
Yeah.
And like, I never forget where I came from, and I never forget like, you know, like the struggle. Like it was a struggle for me to get my first car. I remember being like young and like, I need a car. And that's why I love my car so much. Like, I don't plan to get rid of it. Even if I get a new one, like I want to keep my car because it's like a reminder. Like I remember how much I struggled to get that car, but it's mine. I paid it off. It's mine, and it's cool. And like, don't get me wrong, I love like nice things, nice quality things. Like, but I mean, it's not my goal.
So funny you said that, like first car. Like when I turned, she didn't put me in right way.
Right.
Like I wasn't driving around with the instructor at 14 and 15. Like, you know, we're getting our license. I had to wait till like Indiana. I had to wait till I was 17. I had to hold a permit for like a year. Yeah. And then you get your license when you're 18, as long as you take the test.
Oh, really? That's what
you have to take a driving test. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I want to say you could even do it at like 16 and a half, but you have to hold that permit for like, I think 6 to 8 months.
We had to do that too in Chicago, but like in, I don't know how long it was. I don't think it was a year. We had to meet like a certain amount of hours with the permit, right?
See, hours, no. I didn't have hours. It was like a certain time.
A year.
And then my mom, by that time, she had met my dad. I call him my dad now. They met when I was like 8 or 9. And he's always been in my life. He's always been a great person in my life. He's never... He's an awesome guy. He's my hero. And they told me, I was watching all these kids, their parents, you know, in high school, you know, dad got me my first car, mom and dad got me my first car, and I'm sitting there with nothing, Flintstoning around my neighborhood. And I just remember my mom and dad telling me, they're like, you're going to save up for your first car. we don't charge you any rent. Like
Right.
you're a kid. And when you get that car, you're going to understand how valuable it's going to mean to you. And oh my goodness, I remember I bought a 1999 Nissan Altima. The year was like 2009 or 2010. And I treated that thing like a Rolls Royce. It was everything to me. And I appreciate it so much. And I think that's why I work so hard.
Yeah. No, I agree. And yeah, I mean, I remember when I got my car, no one really knew what kind of car I was getting. And I ended up with it's a 2012 Kia Forte.
Oh.
And I love this car. And I'm like, it's kind of sporty because I wanted a sports car. I was like, it's a little sporty. So everyone looked at me, they're like, this is not a car that I would see you. And I'm like, hey, I got it myself. I'm excited. Like, I don't care. I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
And
it
I
doesn't
took really
matter
good care
what
of it.
anyone thinks at that point because you're just like, I did this on my own.
Yeah.
That was like the first thing where you're like, this is mine.
Mm-hmm. And now they're stealing Kias like everywhere. And I'm like, see, my car is
It's an older
a
Kia.
and people clearly want Kias.
Yeah,
Like,
it's not
they're in
hooked up with
demand.
an iPhone charger and you can't steal it.
And no one wants to steal mine because of the year. So
They're like, look at that 2012. I'm not trying to go after that.
2012, but the fact that it's a Kia, I'm like,
Yeah, I
they
got
might
a
steal it.
2015 Nissan Rogue, and like I said, I treat that thing like a Benz.
Nissans are cool. I wanted a Nissan too, though.
They go
They're
forever.
good cars. Mm-hmm.
They go forever.
If I didn't have a Kia, I'd have that.
It's my first car, my 1999 Altima. I had like 300,000 miles on
Oh my
it
God.
when I totaled it, and it was heartbreaking. It was heartbreaking. I was behind this car. And I just slid right underneath it. They didn't have brake lights. And in moving traffic, if someone doesn't have any brake lights, you think they're moving.
Yeah.
And so essentially, I rammed into a parked car.
Yeah.
or like a stopped car.
That's so scary.
It was horrid.
Oh, man.
I have flashbacks to this day. Like if a car stops in front of me, I'm like,
Yeah, that's happened to me where people don't put they don't have lights in the back.
Yeah.
And and I've gotten close to it.
You don't even know that it's like an optical illusion.
Right. It's so weird. Like our minds are just trained like that, right?
It's
To look out for
nuts.
that?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, people make fun of my Kia though.
Yeah.
I'm like, leave it alone. And then it got hit once on the side and my friend's like, literally, I'll replace your doors for free. Like just fix your doors. I'm like, when I have time. So I plan to fix it hopefully soon. But then a car hit me on the side and then one time I like backed out of my aunt's house. She has a fire hydrant.
Oh no.
Scratched the crap out of my car, like dented the door.
You just heard it in the car.
Yeah, I was like, no. And then I got off and I'm like, it doesn't look that bad. So it was raining.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next morning I saw it. I'm like, I see like the yellow paint from the fire hydrant. I was like, oh my God. So yeah, I got to get that fixed.
Okay. Yeah. Well, you're about to take off anyway, so you're going to be driving like a Beamer Benz. You're going to be good.
You'll know I make it when I have like the Mercedes Benz.
Yeah, you're going to post it on your Instagram like, baby did a thing today.
Right.
Yeah. So
It's so different.
getting into like being an actress, I don't want it to come off wrong, but like, have you ever seen because there's like those Harvey Weinsteins out there?
Yeah.
Have you ever
What?
been approached or like seen that happen to somebody else?
No. What I will say is that like starting off in the industry, it's very risky because you're so like hungry to be out there and like be on camera.
You almost do anything to get
Yeah, people will do a lot to get there, but I'm not saying that's always the case, but that gives opportunity to be taken advantage of. I can see that. Because you're constantly reminded you're replaceable. I've seen people get replaced like that. Like literally, oh, she's not here on time. Okay, we'll call somebody else. And then they'll get somebody replaced for like a film or a show. I've seen that at least 3 times. So it's always like in your face, like you can be easily replaceable. So you kind of go along with everything. But luckily, I've had more where like I've been taken advantage of, I would say like financially. Like when I started off, I would get scammed by like fake talent agencies, fake acting schools, people that were doing headshots. Like, the closest thing I guess I would have to I used to have like sketchy photographers reach out to me all the time. And even to this day, like there'll be some weird like in the inbox, like, hey, like I can do your photos. I remember there was this one guy, this was, oh my God, years ago. And he's like, in order to make it in this industry, you got to do these like photos. And they were like nudes. And he was telling me like, really, and he was like lingerie nudes. And I'm like, how dumb do you think I am? What? He's like, I'll give you money, sends me a picture of like cash, and he's like, I'll give you money, like, but this is what it takes. Like, basically, like, this is what it takes, honey. Like, he called me through like Facebook, like Messenger. And I was like, no, it doesn't. Don't call me again. Like, and I looked at his like profile, his pictures were trash. And I'm like, they look so sketchy. I was like, ew, no.
Yeah, like, I'm doing just fine.
Right. I'm okay. Like, that's what it takes. Keep it. I'm good. So yeah, nobody's like ever asked me like anything on set. Everything has been really professional from my experience, but I can see the potential, like, how people can get in those situations, or people can take advantage of people.
Well, not only that, but like what we were talking about, like, we have this drive just to succeed, period. But some people have this drive just to, I'll do anything to be famous. And if it means doing a couple of things behind the scenes,
selling your soul.
Yeah, selling your soul.
Selling your soul.
Like, you hear about those actors.
Nobody's ever asked me yet for the soul. No, nobody's.
Would you sell it?
I don't know. I don't know.
I'm putting you on the side. Would you sell it?
I don't think so. No.
No. It's different. But like, you hear about like those, like Ryan Garcia. That kid's off the deep end right now. Like, I don't know if he's, and it's so weird to gauge because like I've been a fan of him for a while.
I love him.
I love the dude.
I love him.
But it's really hard to gauge because even me being a fan of him, you see him, like, I remember, 3 years ago when he was just, like I said, I've always loved the kid. And recently it's like, dude, something clicked, or maybe there's something, but like, he was calling out like the Hollywood elites. He got like taken to Bohemian Grove and kidnapped, but Bohemian, that's real.
That's a real thing. Yeah, like, I did my research, so I went down the like rabbit hole, and I was like doing it. Like, I kept searching, and I was like, well, where is he getting this from? Obviously, it came from somewhere.
But it's real.
Right.
Like, Kid Rock was just on Joe Rogan like a month ago, and he was saying he went to Bohemian Grove once, and there was like, he was very calculated with what he said, but didn't give away too much. Like, he was just like, I saw this guy, and this guy. And, Rogan was like, well, what was going on? He's like, but this guy was there, and he never like alluded to what was going on. But like, there was a recent one I just seen on Twitter X, and this kid snuck in. He ended up like going down this river, kayaking to like behind the boundaries, got in.
I think I saw that on TikTok.
Okay,
I think I saw the video.
Is it the same? He's like a YouTuber. His name's like Tyler O'Leary.
You saw the clip where they like got what happens there. They're like doing this whole ritual.
Yeah, like they're coming out with hoods with that owl.
With the owl. I saw that.
And there's a bunch of rows of seats. Like, it's wild, and it
was
there's
creepy.
definitely something going on.
Yeah.
And
at first I'm like, is that a plane?
You gotta call us back and get back on here and tell me everything. I got the scoop. I didn't participate. I just watched.
I was just there. Oh my god. Yes, it's really weird. Like, I have been like watching it ever since like Ryan Garcia kind of put that out there. Yeah. I'm like, why would he say that? Because I don't know, like, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but why would he say that if he has a fight coming up? Like, wouldn't it be detrimental?
And they're saying he's doing it to sell the fight, which would actually steer people away.
Yeah,
like Hollywood elites would be like, don't watch this fight. You know what I mean? They put anything to censor that up.
Exactly. So I don't know. Like, do you think there's like, besides the Bohemian Grove?
I do.
Do you think he saw what he saw? Like, what he said? I don't know.
There was see, now me, like, when someone tells a story, one thing I really base on is details. Like, usually when someone's telling the truth, they're going into a hard detail. And that kid went into a hard, detailed outline, like what happened, tied me down, like stuff like that, made me watch stuff and do this and do that. And it's like, maybe that is true. Because like I said, usually when someone's lied, they're like, oh yeah, I was there, and maybe this happened or that happened. They're not giving too many details. But one thing I've always found is like, when people are telling the truth, they're hitting with like details. Like, I stopped to tie my shoe. This person was there. And he was name dropping pretty hard. Like,
I know. It's been so interesting to like follow. Who knows?
Are you a big conspiracy theorist?
I mean, I'm interested in, because I don't know how much I believe it, but I'll listen to it, and I will look into it. And then usually at night, like, it's like when I'm scrolling, when I have time to like scroll through TikTok, and then I'm like, okay, what is he talking about? And then you keep clicking and clicking, and you're like, what? I don't know.
There's a lot of conspiracies out there. Like,
Which one you believe?
there is most recent one that the producer, he sent me it, and it was, we're all in a time paradox.
Okay.
Like, so there was this paranormal ghost hunter, and he gets in contact with this, what he thinks is a spirit. And they're in this, house that says there's entities or paranormal going on, and they're communicating. And the spirit's telling him he's from like 2152, which is almost 150 years from now.
What?
And he's actually the spirit that he's trying to contact.
Oh,
It was so crazy because
so
he was
weird.
because they were asking each other, and then they started like really communicate. He's like, knock on this wall and see if I can hear you.
Yeah.
And the person in our time right now was knocking on the wall, and he's like, yeah, I heard you. And he was like, well, you knock on this wall in this direct place and see if I can hear. And that other entity was coming through, knocking on the same. They were communicating hand in hand. So that's what makes me think like we're in different times, like all the time.
Yeah.
Like, what if, just because 1921 is history, what if there's still like somewhere space, we know more about space than we do underground water, which is another thing kind of in conspiracy.
I've also looked into that.
Yeah. And but it makes me think like we have so much out there that's just not discovered. Like, what if?
It's so interesting. Like I studied psychology, and then I learned about like projecting your own reality, right? With like neuroscience. That's one thing. So I'm like, okay, that's like possible. We're literally projecting realities, and we're like a collective consciousness, right?
Right.
That's one thing. And then in physics, you learn something about time travel, because I also studied engineering. And then you learn about how easy it could be to time travel if you just like fold something in space. And I don't know, it's crazy.
There's some weird things
There's
out
science
there.
behind
There's
it
science
that you can do
that's
it.
proven.
So it's interesting. So like, I mean, there must be some like validity to what they're saying. It just we just don't fully understand it yet,
Yeah, it's almost like do you believe that people could control the weather?
I don't know about the weather.
I know there's a lot. That's what I said too. I'm like, I don't know. That's a little off to me. That's some hardcore.
I mean,
stuff.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah, that's deep.
Yeah. I'm like,
is there any other ones that you think like JFK?
I don't know as much about that. I haven't looked into that one as much. I usually look into, and I guess because I'm like in the acting industry, I do look into a lot of those conspiracies with Illuminati and all those conspiracies. I think that's interesting. Every time it has something to do with kids, I'm like, oh my, I really hope that's not true.
That freaks me out. Quiet on the Set.
I started watching it yesterday. Have you seen it?
I've done a lot of research before that show came out, so I always kind of knew Nickelodeon, Disney, they're groomers. I mean,
so sad.
They really are, but it definitely gives you a peek behind the curtain as far as how these kids are the way they are, like Amanda Bynes.
Right,
that poor girl.
Because you always wonder, they have it all, how do they end up there? And then you kind of see, this happens to them, and
they recluse out once they get of age.
I would say it's not everybody in the industry is like that, but I mean, when you're on set, there's so many people on set, especially when you get to big productions. There's so many people there.
Yeah.
You just never know who's on set and who is a creep and who's not, and it's just, I don't know. If I had kids, I don't know if I would put them in acting
that young.
You know.
You gotta have some self-awareness and some people.
Right. I'd want to be there, and I know a lot of the times when you're on set, kids, parents have to stay back and let the kids do the thing. Yeah, I mean, if you're on set, and sometimes the parents will have to be in a different room from what I've seen, or they'll be we just need the kids. So I mean, I can see how it's a risk. It's a risk.
Yeah, that quiet on the set. Like I said, I haven't started it yet. It's on my watch list. I've been rewatching Sopranos again. I just can't stop. It's one of those shows I'll rewatch once a year. It's just, I think it's one of the best stories. It's great, but the quiet on the set, that's just, it's making waves now, and bad. And that one guy that's actually like, it's pretty much about that, Dan Schneider, he was just on a podcast.
Really?
Talking about it. Yeah. Like,
I gotta hear that.
Yeah.
I gotta hear what he has to say because he's so gross. He's so gross.
He looked like a creeper always. Like, I didn't like him in Good Burger. I'm like, this dude's weird. This dude's a little
He looks off for sure. Like, he can tell he definitely
looks
had
like a
issues.
dude that would do whatever they're saying.
He probably felt cool, like being around like young kids.
Oh,
or something, you know what I mean? And I don't know. It's so gross, like watching him.
Yeah.
And I started watching it and I was like, ew, the whole time I was like, and it's crazy because I remember watching the Amanda Show. I used to love the Amanda Show. And now looking at it now, I'm like, oh my God, I didn't think of it that way, like the joke at the time. But how did no adult catch that? You know, because watching it as an adult, you see like these jokes and you're like, that's so inappropriate for like a child to be doing.
I think and I've talked about this before too on a podcast. I think it's because they socially and visually numb you, even when you're an adult. Like, so we see so many, action movis, or you see so many innuendos or jokes. They're just like, oh, it's just jokes. It's just joke. It's not. It's like, they kind of like the saying, like anything that somebody says in jest is usually 90% what they're really feeling.
Yeah.
And I think that's like a way to socially numb. Like if you see a bunch of movies about aliens, and they're making all these Men in Black, there's a secret society that only deals with aliens. There's this, there's this, there's this. Well, then 40 years later, when they're like, yeah, aliens are real, we're all like, oh, yeah, I guess I could see that.
Yeah, because you're used to seeing it in your head.
I've seen so many of these movies. I've seen so many of these conspiracies. I've seen so many UFOs or whatever it may have you, the Area 51, all this stuff. They're just, to me, it's like socially numbing. You're just slowly taking one layer at a time until you're finally like, ta-da, this is what it is.
Right. I do believe in aliens, though.
Me too.
How we can't be the only planet in galaxies that has life on it. Even if it doesn't look like what we think, like maybe it's microorganisms, maybe it's like a type of bacteria. There is something foreign out there, in my opinion. Like, I just feel like there has to be, or there has been.
There has to be. There has to be. We can't be. To me, it's
we're not the only ones. How arrogant?
No, I was just about to say, how arrogant and ignorant are we to think that like we're the only ones that can do this?
We're the only life. We're like the top. Like no.
No, there's always a bigger and better dog, and it just
I agree.
But that conspiracy theory about that, like that paranormal, when that dude was, like he said,
it's
he
so
was
interesting.
connecting in that house. He was like, I'm from 2130 or whatever, or whatever it was. And he's like, what? I'm in 2024.
So interesting.
And they were literally communicating. I'm like, holy shit. It just
there has to be multiple realities out there, right? Like
that,
that's crazy.
And you see, like, TikTok is TikTok, but you see people like, I'm from the future. This is going to happen. This is going to happen. This is going to happen. I'm still waiting. There's this TikToker that I saw like 3 years ago that was like, everything he said so far has been true.
Really?
Yeah. He blurred his face. He never showed anything like his face. He covered his voice, everything, like to a T. No one knew. But he predicted like 4 things all happening. Like there's like Trump isn't elected again. That didn't happen. He said like right after that, there's going to be a war. That's happening right now. Then he said Trump is elected again. So I'm waiting. If Trump's elected again, I'm going to be like, this, I'm sold.
Yeah,
I'm sold. This dude's got it. This dude's got it.
What about the Simpsons, though? Aren't they saying that the Simpsons always predict that?
They do.
Why?
How?
There's
too many real things that.
And I grew up watching The Simpsons like every single whatever day it came out or like whatever time, I always watched it.
Yeah, it was like Animation Domination for a little while. That's what it was called. Like every Friday or Wednesday, I think.
I can't remember.
You got a new episode of The Simpsons, and The Simpsons is just awesome. I watch it on Disney Plus all the time.
Yes, I still watch it.
Or something like that, like a comfy show. I'm like, I love The Simpsons.
It was always such a good show. But yeah, it's just creepy because I'm like, I remember watching that episode. Like, that's real? Like, so how do they know it?
And not only that.
Or are we doing it because we watched it? Projecting that reality.
And that's what I'm
I don't know.
The slowly peering back that curtain, like, what if it's all a plan?
I don't know.
Like it just,
is it planned or are we creating it?
We're going down the rabbit
I'm not
hole.
going to sleep tonight.
No,
You're like,
I'm gonna message you this. Like, yo, did you see this?
Right. No, send them. I like literally will always go into down those rabbit holes.
But it's like even like in The Simpsons, and it showed Trump like getting like, and he goes
Yeah.
on that escalator,
Yeah.
and then that really happened in reality.
I
He's
was like,
going
there's
on
no
that-
way.
There's no way.
No way.
My friend says that all the time. I got a friend at work, and he's like, "Did it happen on The Simpsons?" And I'm like, "I don't know. Let's see." And he's like, "If it happened on The Simpsons, it's gonna happen."
Now I gotta watch like all the shows just to like pay attention like what might happen. So they show lottery numbers in one of them. So
Yeah, dude, Mega Millions at 1.1 billion right now.
really?
Yep, I just saw it on a billboard on my way here. I was like, "Oh, I got to get a ticket because if I
Watch
get this
The
ticket,
Simpsons,
I'm
like-
putting everyone on." Like,
You said
everyone's
it.
getting on, dude.
That'd be so
Everyone.
cool. Fingers crossed.
Yeah,
Fingers crossed.
fingers crossed like a mug. So,
Yeah.
do you have any upcoming projects?
Yeah, so I'm actually going to be filming, I think on the 5th, like the beginning of April, I'm going to be filming a movie. It's in Spanish. So I have a smaller role in it because it's, I think, based in Mexico.
Okay.
My understanding. And they said, you have a little American accent when you speak Spanish. I don't have a lot of lines in it. This one I'm going to do the finale for the movie. It's a horror scene, and we're going to film on a farm. I can't give too many details,
No.
but I'm so excited to see this movie.
Oh, so where's the?
Yeah.
Are you filming like in Mexico on location? or-
No, so it's based in Mexico, but it's being filmed in Illinois.
Okay.
Far Illinois.
Yeah.
On a farm
Southern
somewhere.
Illinois or somewhere.
Forest somewhere, I don't know.
There's nothing around Chicago.
No, I don't think I don't
no
think
way.
so. Yeah.
There's no
But
way.
you know what? That director, I worked with him before, and he is so good at making it look like you're completely somewhere else. It's so cool, like watching him work.
I think that's one of the coolest things
Yeah.
about the whole acting and directing world. Like when you see a play, like I saw a Bronx Tale
Mm-hmm.
at the Chicago Theater, I think, or it wasn't. It may not have been at the Chicago Theater. I think it was at the. Well, back then it's changed names now, but it was called the Cadillac Palace.
Yeah.
I seen a Bronx Tale there,
That's cool.
and from them going from scene to scene, that what they do with that set is
so cool.
insane.
It's like magic.
And
I
it
love
looks
it. Mm-hmm.
so real. The fact that they do it in less than 3 seconds, in less than like 3 minutes, just to keep the people engaged.
Theater is so different. And like I had the opportunity to go for a little bit when I was in that theater company. It's such a different world. Like it's live, so it's scary. Like you have to be on top of your lines, on top of everything. And then also be ready to like wardrobe change, like change your hair, change the set. Like it's so cool to see it. And then like just to be a part of it is so different.
And then
film
improv.
is totally different.
Like if something doesn't go right on the stage, like you can't just bail.
no, you can't just freeze. You can't just walk off. Like you have to be on it, you know?
Yeah, in acting, you get something wrong, it's like cut,
Right.
redo. So how many? That was another thing I've been wanting to ask you as far as like acting goes. How is it like just redoing the same thing? Like they're like, that wasn't right. We just tweak this a little, or that wasn't right.
So-
Because you hear like with the new Roadhouse just came out a couple of days ago, the new one with Conor McGregor, and he was talking about acting. He's like, a lot of it's like 16-hour days, and you might only be acting for 3 hours out of that whole day.
Yeah.
You just
They're
by
just
redoing one thing.
adjusting things.
Okay.
Like they'll adjust lighting. So they're like, don't move or come back to your spot. Everything has to be marked. You have to look exactly the same. It's like the details, and somebody's in charge of that. So they have to like rearrange the camera. So like we could be sitting here and obviously when you're watching a movie, you don't realize how quick like the perspective has changed and for the viewer's point of view. So they'll have to catch you. So when they're filming behind me, we're doing the exact same thing because I have to give you the exact same energy for you to react. Then the camera goes on your side, catches it from there, camera comes from this side, and you have to kind of tweak a little bit that side, and it's just crazy. And then they have to adjust every single time, like the lighting, the makeup, everything.
And not only,
It's a lot.
but it's just like what you said, that was key too. I never even thought about that, giving the same energy. So
Yeah.
even if it's your 25th take, you got to say it like it's your first time and give that
Right.
same intensity, same energy.
Yeah.
Gosh.
And like, it's so
That is
weird.
hard
The
work.
camera is like just catching the back of my head or like my ear. And then I'm talking to you like with the same energy. The one thing that they might tweak, like don't move your hand is up. Like, they just have to adjust it. But it's so crazy. Like what goes into making a movie. My mom got to see me like for my first movie. It was like the zombie movie was so bad.
It was so
like
bad.
my part was like I watch it. I'm like, oh my god, I was so new. Like I'm always evolving and growing, and I feel like I
You
don't
should
know
be
it
getting
all.
better every time.
Yeah,
Anyways, that's how
my
growth
goal.
happens. Yeah.
I still take acting classes like to this day. So when I see that, it's just so funny to me. My mom, like I was in her age, we were filming at a bar a lot. So she was, behind the scenes while we were filming. And like I said, she was in a different room, but we were filming. And she would kind of peek over and she's like, it's crazy. You had to say the same thing a million times. Like we have to keep saying it, keep redoing it, or like keep walking in somewhere, like walk in that door again, walk in. So you have to keep bringing that energy all the time.
It's like in the movie La Bamba. When you saw Richie Valens and they were just like, take again, take again, take again, take again. And he's like, come on already.
Right,
he's like, we did 800 takes. Yeah. The same note, same line.
And you can't complain.
No.
Everyone will look at you like, what? Because we're all in it together. So it's like, really, dude? Like, we're all doing it.
You're trying to do this. You're trying to just put that masterpiece on, the masterpiece on the plate.
Right.
And that's
everyone has to bring like their A game all the time. Cause like, you don't want to be the one to mess it up for everybody. You know what I mean? Like, so you don't want, like, everyone's gonna look like she can't get her lines or she can't get this. So like, that was always like my fear. So like, I would stay up memorizing those scripts. And it's a lot that goes into making a movie. People don't realize that. I
couldn't, it's out. And then not only that, but the film costs money. Everything costs money. Yeah. Set. We just spent this much money to do this stunt all the way back from the beginning, redo it again, clean this
Time
up.
is money. Like in a film, oh my God, you mess that up, everyone hates you. Like everyone's looking like, come on, because sometimes like locations are rented. Mm-hmm. You have to rent a house to do it. You have to rent location. You only have certain time. Like you go over time now, you cost somebody money, or I don't know how it works with like camera, like film or whatever they do, but like that takes time too. Mm-hmm. So it's a lot. You don't want to be the one to do it. Yeah. So it's scary.
It's a work. It is. It's hard work. People don't realize, like, dude, you have to keep engaged like all the time. I know. And it's so hard because I'm more of like, live in the moment. I don't always be with my phone.
Exactly.
And it's definitely a work.
It is. And then you want to get it, like if I decide to do real, I'm like, okay, I want it to look a certain way. So then I'm up all night looking, making sure it looks right, the timing's right. And then it's like, so taxing. It's so timing. Like I have other things to do. I have like other things to do.
Yeah, I want to watch Canelo.
Right, I want to watch boxing match.
You
like
watch UFC?
Yes, I love UFC. I love watching UFC.
You're awesome.
Yeah, I know.
I love it. You got this on, right? Like, dude, it's the best. I love UFC. So who's your favorite fighter?
Oh my God, I don't know.
Who's some of your game favorites? Like,
I'm like drawing a blank now that you asked me. Hold on.
What do they look like?
Sean O'Malley?
Sean O'Malley's, I like watching him. He's entertaining.
Yeah, what girls don't?
He's
every girl likes Sean.
Oh my God, I'm drawing a blank.
The Sugar Show.
Who's the other Irish one?
Conor McGregor?
Yeah, so I grew up watching like Conor McGregor, and I really liked him, like starting off because, have you seen his story? Like the Netflix documentary? I forgot the name of it.
McGregor.
Was it? There was another one before that.
Yeah, I think it was called like McGregor Fast.
No, I can't think of the name.
But his story is
I love watching his story,
in Dublin, poor, and he just knew. Like, he has that charisma. That's the big thing. It's the charisma, right?
It's
his charisma.
Yeah.
And you gotta have that when you're in acting. You gotta have it when you're doing like what we do. People just gotta relate to you, and people relate to like his quick one-liners. He knew. And
you're putting on a show, right? It's still like entertainment. So yes, you're actually there and you're fighting, but it's also entertaining, So
I like Sean Strickland too.
Oh my God, I have to look at his face. I'm really bad with names.
Dude that's so outspoken, everyone's trying to cancel him all the time. He's like, we need to go back to regular America.
Oh, I think I know who you're talking about now.
And women are at home, raising the kids. But at the same time, like, society was different when it was like where the man was at work and the mom was raising the children. We had a lot of different production in society.
Yeah, I mean, I'm conflicted, right? Because I'm
not saying women just
yes,
I know. We got it. Yep, we can pull that up in the actual episode. Put a picture of Sean right here.
Yeah, if you show me on their face, I'm like, I remember him. I remember that. I'll remember everything. But I'm so bad with their names. But yeah, I'm conflicted, right? Because I'm so like. career oriented and I love going to school. I'm constantly in school. Like I feel like I'll study forever. Like I love school and learning. But then I also see the values that we had back then as well. And I feel like that's changed a little bit.
A lot of it.
And then I think like being at home with your kids, all that is so nice, right? Like to have the ability to like feed them good food, like make things from scratch, like have the time to do that. So I wish I could get like both, right? To do both.
Yeah, you want to be able to do both.
Right, like I want to be able to do whatever I want, but I also, if I had kids, like I would want to be at home with them and make sure that like I'm teaching them a lot of things, that they're learning things from me, and then I'm able to do things for them so they can be like happy and healthy.
Yeah, for sure. And one thing about kid too, like as an adult, you literally put your life on pause.
Yeah,
Like
I would imagine.
If you plan on doing this and doing that and doing that, once you have a kid, it's like, okay, hold right here. They grow up a little bit to be kind of self-sufficient, and then you kind of get back to like what you wanted to do. Like I always wanted to like act or do stand-up or gaming or whatever. And it's like all that pause. My daughter's 9 now. Yeah. And she's starting to get to where she's like, she's my fan. You know what I mean? Like she's like, Dad, I watch your podcast. Or I don't let her watch all the podcasts because they're not for children. Get the children out of it. But it's cool. And then I get videos sent to me like, from the producer. Like he'll be watching it at home and show his daughter is like, that's Nico. He was over at the house. And it's like, yes, like it's so cool, I don't even care if they're my 2 biggest fans. Right. I'm just happy someone's watching it.
I remember one time my little cousin. I have like a lot of younger cousins and. They were so cute. I remember one time I went to a family party and they were like on the computer and then they came running to me and then they're like, so we Googled you and then you come up on Google. I'm like, really? And then I was like, no way. And they were so happy. And that made me so happy because I'm like, who am I, right? Like I'm just like myself doing my own thing. And then to see them like recognize me, they're like my little fans. I thought that was so cute. And that memory stuck with me.
Small goals. Yeah. Like essentially you put in your name on Google now, you pop up. Like you put our name into YouTube now, we pop up. Like it's slowly gaining steam and it's a little process. Like you never stop grinding. And there's a streamer that I watch, and I don't watch him often. I'm not big on watching streamers like that, but he said something when he finally achieved. He was the top Twitch streamer ever, and he got 5 million subscribers. And he looks into the camera and cuts off like his whole shtick immediately, and just goes, "I do this every single day. For 1 year, I was streaming to one person a day." He goes, and it was my dad. He goes, "If you just have belief in yourself." And patience. Everything's taken care of. He goes, believe in yourself and patience. He goes, hard work, it's good, but you can only work hard for maybe a week. Right. He goes, but if you just believe in yourself and you're patient, keep grinding. Don't let anyone in a million years tell you to stop. And that stuck with me so bad. And that's essentially what made me start streaming gaming, because I got all my friends that tell me all the time, they're like, dude, you should really be putting that on camera. Like you need to really show your gameplay. And how nice that you have that support, right? Because not everybody has it. My friends are awesome. Not everybody takes it serious at first. They're like, oh, you're going to do that? Like, I got a lot of that back then. Like, I get a lot of that now, Right. Like, I was too short, they said. I was back then I was too skinny, or I'm too curvy. It's always one or the other, or too short, or like, you're going to do acting, or like, you're going to do pageants, you're going to do modeling, or focus on one thing. I literally learned to tune everybody out. I don't care. You don't care. I literally, if you believe in yourself, that's all that matters. Because who's going to believe in you? First of all, if you don't believe in yourself, that's key. Second, it's like you just keep doing your thing, and then eventually, even the people that were like haters or doubters, they're going to be like, oh, it's like, wow, like how'd you do it? What do you mean how'd I do it? I work every single day. Every day I take a step towards something. Every single day. And like, I tell myself, like, if I go to the gym, like, okay, this is for like my upcoming pageant. If I do or I'll look up like a new talent agent in like Atlanta or LA, or like, let me see what headshot I want to pick to get edited. Like, I'm always taking a step towards it, even if I'm so busy. Every single day, work towards it, like whatever your goals are, and believe in yourself. Yeah, it's so important. Like, when I used to tell people like, yeah, I got a podcast, they're like, haha, yeah, okay. And then now we're like, I don't even know how many episodes deep are we counting. Do you know that, fans? We're on 15
Wow.
deep, and now I'm starting to get people like, bro, you got a podcast? That's
Like,
so
can I get on?
Yeah,
They're gonna be
and
like,
now
can I
got
get
people that were like
on?
laughing at first, like, bro, could I, come in? We could just shoot the shit.
Right.
Like, well, what do you bring to the table now?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, this isn't something you want. You were laughing at me.
Right.
And it's like what Post Malone said too, like in the
it's
beginning,
crazy.
like all those people that laughed at you, and he made that song, Congratulations. And he said it was for all the people that laughed at him.
Mm-hmm.
And then when they seen him again, when he made his big break,
Yeah.
they stuck out their hand and they were like, dude, congratulations. Because it's essentially making everybody, you have to believe in yourself.
Yeah.
So
They won't see the points in it, but as long as you see the point and you have your goals and your vision, that's all that matters. And you just keep working towards it, and eventually they'll be like, oh shit, well, how can I get in a movie? How can I do that? Well, what do you mean? Like, do what I did like 10 years ago and keep working at it. Like, and it's not easy. It's taken me years to get here, and I'm still like, I don't consider myself like famous. I'm still just doing my thing, but I mean, who knows where it's going to take me? Either it takes me somewhere, it doesn't, as long as you're having fun doing
take
it.
you.
Hopefully.
That's
yeah.
the mindset.
It's going to take me there.
It's gonna take you there.
When I get my Mercedes.
Like
You'll
you
see
said,
it.
like it's good to have like good friends like that. I have one just solo friend. He was on the podcast. He's an artist, but he's always believed in me.
Yeah.
I message him all the time, like, dude, without you, I would have never really took all these steps
Right.
towards keep on trying. And his name's, Dave. He was on the podcast, and I can't tell him enough. Like his belief in me, I always believed in myself, but his belief in me made me really just go for it.
I love that.
And he believes in me so much. He's a great friend. He's family. Like he's the best. And
It's key when you have
It
like
really
those
is.
people, like a good support system or a good team behind you in whatever you're doing. It's like every time that I made it, it's been like somebody else has been either there believing in me, somebody told me about an opportunity, or somebody that, and I'm so grateful for that, Because I mean, I've always believed in myself, even though I looked crazy at some point, like doing all these things. But it's so nice when you have like that support.
it really
You want to do it for them, like I got
for
it. Yeah.
Yeah, like dude, I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do it. Like he told
Yeah.
me that too. He's like, dude, even if and that's when he sent me that video of that streamer. He's like, dude, he streamed to one person a day for a year, and it was only his dad.
I mean, hey, you got to start somewhere.
Yeah, you got to start somewhere, and it ended up picking up and going. He tells me that all the time, like, dude, you can do it, and it's just different to have that person believe in you. It really is. Like I said, he's my number one fan out of everyone. He wants to rock the hats. He wants to be on the podcast. He is a part of the podcast. He's gonna start being on a lot more episodes.
Yeah.
I'm putting him in. And we just vibe. Like he's my A1 J1. Like
Really?
Yeah, he really is. He's the best. But as we conclude this episode, I want to give you this. This is yours.
Oh,
you can wear it
thank
on
you.
set. Just promote, do whatever
I'm wearing
you want.
this today,
as we,
for sure.
Yeah, as we promote you too. That's what
you.
this whole podcast is
I love
about.
it.
Is about people growing and believing in people. So shout out to Doubleheader again at 6213 Belmont for letting us use this bar to film and do whatever we want, essentially, before business opens. And then if you want any of this merch, the Unqualified Professionals, go to hold on. Let me double check it. I don't want to get it wrong.
Mine too.
Yeah, trendytopicchicago.com for your Unqualified Professionals merch. Hats, they're beautiful. I want one of these. I want one of the trucker black ones with the pink on it. I like the gray.
I love the
I like
pink.
the gray that I got, but I love the pink. It just stands out. It's a stamp. And he actually made this whole entire
Really?
thing. Yeah. We came up with the name kind of collectively. And then he did the stamp because I wanted it to look like a president's stamp.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, it should look like like that. So we're good.
So cool.
top trendychicago.com for the merch. And then you can say any of your socials, promote yourself right here.
Yeah, so I mean, you can look me up on Instagram, Monica_J_Ochoa. TikTok, Monica J Ochoa. I promise to start posting more because I usually I'm so busy, like you said, in the moment, right?
Yeah.
That I don't get to post as often as I want to, but I will be posting more frequently. So yeah, look me up, Monica J Ochoa.
Hell yeah, Al Pacino on Twitch. No, I gotta give myself a shot. And I think that's a wrap, though.
Thank you.
Oh man, we gotta get some pictures too, so we can post it. I know.
Thank you for watching and listening to the Unqualified Professionals. Follow us on SoundCloud, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok.
That's entertainment.